West. All right,
We are live.
okay. It's 4:00. I'll call to order this special meeting of the City of Prospect Council. We have 3 items of business to address. First is an application for preliminary certificate of conformance of building plans and exterior materials proposed for the construction of Gustavo's Mexican Grill restaurant to be located at 8909 US Highway 42. So the Gustavo's has provided the brick samples and the stone samples and their plans and the color rendering that were required for this to be considered. And at this point, I'll ask if there's a motion to provide that preliminary certificate of conformance.
Do what? Say again.
This is a certificate of conformance of building plans and exterior materials proposed for the construction. So this is a preliminary certificate.
I move that we
Approve the preliminary certificate.
approve it, yes.
All right. Is there a second? Okay. No second. Councilman Evans? No? Okay. All right. Wes, we'll have to regroup.
At this point, the only thing we're gonna do is time and turn.
Yeah.
You know, we, time and time again,
Yep.
we've, been counseling you guys to do exactly what we've done. And you guys are operating outside of what you have the authority to do this. Because the meeting that we had, it was determined to make this accessible to the public that we have a pre-drawn, resubmitted. We have a special meeting, and we have confirmed what we submitted does meet the requirements of the ordinance, and what we determined we met specifically. And it sounds like what you guys are saying now is that we won't approve it, even though we've already agreed that it does meet and conforms to what we're supposed to uphold. That's what you guys have said. We met a
Well,
special meeting about that.
I've said that. I'm
Well,
not,
that's the fruits.
And I said that, but that's not the whole council.
That's okay. So if we want to go through that ordinance, we can definitely do that. If we can do that here, if you guys are like, you have material, you have plans. But you guys, what you're doing right now is you're stopping business, you're following, and making money. And we've done everything that you guys have asked us to do. Everything.
well, you're not going to get any argument from me, Wes. You've
I
been,
remember, but I also understand, it's my understanding of reading and what our attorney confirms, that you have the authority, that when this board cannot vote on this, you have the authority to vote on it. Whether you choose to do that or not, that's your choice. But that's the way the ordinance reads. So at this point, the only thing that he knows is, he doesn't want to do, by the way, it's only going to cost him further money.
right.
And we're gonna get into a legal battle with the city that I'm sure the city doesn't want to do. But we have no other choice because you guys will not act on something that will benefit the city, which is why you don't sit in that seat. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. No sense. As a citizen who pays tax here, it makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Understood.
I think Bob Jacob might have something he wants to say about this.
Well, there's no business on the floor, so there's no really further discussion to be had. I think you've said what you had to say, and we appreciate it, Wes. You've been a pleasure to deal with, and we'll look forward to hearing from your attorney, and we'll move forward from there.
Totally doubting all of every city board, they can't act on the motion. That you have no reason to doubt it. But it was to see that you got.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate, Sarah's not here. She's out of the country. So, it may have been different if she was here. She had seconded the motion on the variance.
Yeah.
So, that things change, but we still need, even though we're down a council member now, with John Grader's resignation, but we still need 3 votes. We definitely have to have a second. We don't have a second, so.
You were here at the time you guys.
Right.
Today, after we met less than a week ago.
Yep.
And we were told to be here today.
Yep.
We were told that we conformed, which is what you guys asked us to do. We paid somebody to redraw a plan to be conformist, and you're still sitting there idle and not making a decision. That's poor leadership. It's all it is. You're thrown in and poor leadership. Period. So we'll end up in a battle, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Understood.
Let everybody know very turn the call today for a story. This will be the story. The story will be that Prospect City Hall can vote on something. They literally, by the end of the day, are going to publish a story on the opening of this. And if they approached us, what I'm going to call them and tell them is, we'd love to tell you that we're about to get going, but we can't, because now for months and months and months, the city of Prospect, which is you guys, and I'll be sure to give them all your, it's sad. You gotta-
Well, in fairness, this is the first time that all the requirements have been met for the council to take action on the preliminary certificate.
And it shouldn't even have gone to this point. It could have been done in a meeting that we all set our own thing. But that, listen, we'll do what you have.
We can't act in that meeting. We can only act here. And Mayor, you could put it on the docket for the next scheduled
Yeah,
meeting.
we'll put it up. We can put it on the agenda for next Monday, for the regular council meeting.
To meet about it here. We met out time and time again. Is it a discussion that you want to meet about? We can have a discussion.
We can't have the discussion in this meeting unless 2 people vote to bring it up.
Make a motion in a second.
But we've been to 2 city council meetings now, and we can't even get to a discussion, which makes no sense. You see, you're just protocol. That's what's happening.
I understand. I completely understand the frustration.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wes. Okay. Second item for discussion is the amended budget that's been presented. So it's for a first reading. So I'll ask the question again. Is there a motion to give a first reading to the amended budget that's been presented?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Gibson moved. Is there a second?
Yes.
Okay, discussion. We discussed the amended budget.
Doug, can you provide us some insight in terms of the change on the insurance premium tax? I mean, that was a really nice surprise. We got, I guess the last collection was 135,000 more than we anticipated, which is like 11%. And that was a nice surprise. And I guess one question, how'd that come to pass? And 2, is it sustainable?
Well, it's, I don't know that I can answer the second question. It came to pass because insurance premiums have gone up enough to create that. It's totally 7% of whatever the total insurance premiums have been. And they've gone up in a way that we didn't anticipate when we presented the budget.
If you think about it, it kind of makes sense.
Sure.
Because we had an increase, significant increase in the valuation of the homes in Prospect. And when that happens, the
Insurance goes up.
insurance coverage goes up, so the premiums go up. So it kind of,
Well, the premiums, and apart from that, premiums are going up. So it's the good side of increase.
Yeah, I looked at my year-over-year premiums of the homeowners, and it was up 6%.
Yeah.
But okay.
So it's good. It's a nice.
Are other cities seeing the same benefit? Has there been any conversation with any?
I haven't had any discussions. John's is out on vacation today.
So part of it is the PVA doesn't do all of Jefferson County in one swoop. They go and do individual pockets of it. So we'd have to know who else got reevaluated to be able to answer that question. But we did. I mean, we all know that. Is the case. The one thing that I wondered, Mayor, was, do we know for sure that the additional money that came in is just for that calendar year and it's not paying ahead into the next calendar year?
I can't say for sure, but that's my understanding. Let me give you more significant news. That's not good news. And that's, we got one bid on our waste collection this afternoon, 3 o'clock, 1 hour ago. And it is, we had put in, the line we had put in here as a guess, turned out to be too low, by a couple $100,000.
Really?
Yeah. So
What line number is that?
Be solid waste 7611.
is that what it is?
It's on page 13.
Yeah, and we didn't do enough work when we put that number in, but that's the number we put in. So, the bid, tell me the line number again, Don.
It's
7611. You've got 725,000 in there right now.
Okay. And I'm sorry, tell me the page, the number again.
Page
13.
13,
Okay,
76.
yeah. So the number that we had was 725. The actual number is essentially 950, 949, 598.
what happened?
We've got the bids. I haven't analyzed them. I mean, we've had them for an hour. So it's,
Was that from Waste Management?
no, that's from Rumpke. We didn't receive any other bids.
That's an increase.
Doug,
That's an increase of how much, Doug?
That's about 150,000, 125,000.
225.
Yeah,
So
808
so
versus,
the nice difference we had on page 15 where we were going to have
no, that's not, yeah,
that surplus, so that's 10,000 underwater.
it's 100, I think we're 110. I think the shortfall is 110,000. Right?
Overall.
Well, we were 115, we had a surplus going of 115,000, and I think what you just said was 125,000.
225,
225.
225.
225.
So, yeah.
So it's 100, we're short 100, we're in the hole 110,000 on this proposed budget. So obviously we've got more work to do.
Yeah.
I know you haven't had a chance to analyze, but does that include the discussion of the change in the service level?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's bi-weekly
Okay.
recycling at the curbside, which is it's a big savings.
Would you please, since the council is responsible for scopes of contracts, would you give everybody a copy of that, please?
Sure. I've got,
I'd like to understand, and then,
yeah,
and if
that'd be great.
we have to
I would
pare
appreciate
it
it.
down, you'll have the input you need
Yeah,
to see.
I've got 5 printed copies and I can make them available and we can print more up. But I'll give those to you right at the conclusion of the meeting and would appreciate any comments or insight people have. I asked about going to bi-weekly yard waste, and I don't understand this, but there's not much savings there. It's just a whole different animal. And that's a low number anyway. That's $163,658.
And that it may even produce revenue for them, because
Yeah.
they take it up and get it
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, and it's just, it's almost like they're in 3 businesses: waste removal, recycling, and yard waste. And they're each their own animals. So the rear door twice a week pickup was $673,920 of that total. The recycling is $112,020 per every other week curbside.
Yeah.
The yard waste is $163,658.
But there are other elements such as the carriers,
The new carts,
the new
they
cars.
build that in. I asked, I said, is there a separate charge for that? And they said, no, that's built into their.
It's built in, and what do we do with the old,
We didn't ask that question.
you know, I mean, those type of things are
Yeah,
worth discussion at some point.
yeah, they have probably 0 value because it's got our name printed on.
Well, yeah, but they might be, anyway,
Yeah,
there's a number of questions.
Sure. sure. So that's the bad news. It's news. Do we want to discuss the budget further now? Anything else to address on that?
Yeah, that might affect other things.
Oh, yeah, it does. Definitely.
That we have in here.
Yeah, and I'd appreciate anybody's advice on that.
Yeah.
Now, later.
I have one comment.
Both.
How about later?
Okay, later's good.
One comment, just from me,
Yeah.
looking at this thing. I'm not in favor of, I'm not opposed to a bridge, but I'm not in favor of borrowing money from ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think we have a good lesson from the Social Security.
Yeah.
You know, once a piggy bank becomes a piggy bank,
Well, I think with these numbers,
it's off the table.
yeah,
would understand
that would be
Yeah.
my thought. But
Okay.
that's a $37,500 line item. That's not going to get us.
I understand.
It helps,
But
it helps.
But I'm concerned more with the principle and.
Sure, No, I understand. That's a good subject for discussion, that I would like us to have is what do we want to do about capital projects in the future? And do we want to have capital projects? If we do, how would we fund them? And so I think we can, we've had very good years for 10 years with contributions to surplus. In 2012, we contributed $237,000. I'll round these off. $237,000 to surplus. In 2013, $95,000 to surplus. 2014, $238,000 to surplus. 2015, $245,000 to surplus. 2016, $442,000 to surplus. 2017, $99,000 to surplus. 2018, $65,000 to surplus. 2019, $218,000 to surplus. 2020, $329,000 to surplus. 2021, $466,000 to surplus. 2022, $318,000 to surplus. So that's why we've got all the money we've got, that got invested in CDs, and we're meeting the ordinance requirement to have a reserve for the pension fund shortfall.
Well, we've talked for years on projects, on creating sinking funds for that specific, but never get off the ground. I mean, it never could coalesce around
Right.
something.
Yeah, and I think it would be helpful for us to have that discussion. We've got some immediate things to deal with to get through this, to get a budget adopted. But maybe once we do, we get a committee to put their heads together and see if there's a way to start putting some money aside for capital projects.
Doug, I think the notion of a capital budget is an excellent idea.
Yeah, well, thanks. I
And
think it'd be
I think we kind of need to separate our recurring costs
Yeah.
from our capital costs, because it gets thrown together. And unfortunately, John here had the advantage of good margins between what our
Revenues.
recurring revenue versus recurring expenses, and able to get some things done and deliver surplus. And I'm afraid you inherited a less margin kind of budget.
the end of those happy years.
Yes, the end of those happy years, right?
And that's the reality we got, and I think we can figure it out. You're pretty smart folks.
I knew where to get out.
Can you get John before the next meeting to tell us whether it looks like we're right on budget, or we're gonna have a surplus of some amount? Because in dealing with the 110,000, we're gonna really.
Yeah, if it stays as it sets, that $110,000, we'll have to pull that out of
Surplus
our surplus.
for next year. Yeah.
And that will, I guess I'm not quite sure where our surplus is going to be with this 135,000. It's we were on track to be about 2.8 total cash, and not including
At what date?
that's if we made the budget. If we
At year
made
end.
the budget, yes, the year end. And normally we do better than that, but we'll find out. So
Okay.
So we'll know in June with how much we have.
How much is in road aid? What is that?
What, 257?
It's around 250,000 sitting there.
And we were gonna take 175 out for, most of that was for sidewalks. But, we were gonna take about 175 out of that for sidewalks and other things, paving projects.
Right. Other issues that had come up before were salaries. The proposal was 3% across the board. And there was some discussion about police vehicles. So I don't know if anybody wants to have discussion about either of those issues today. If I had to talk about them, or Chief's here and can address his piece of that.
I think we.
Well, the salary issue is whatever it is, but it's not between 2% and 3%. It's not a big number.
About $4,400 is total.
Police vehicle, on the other hand, is kind of a significant number. So
Yeah.
maybe you'd like to have the chief talk about that or others. I don't know.
Well, the salary is in fact $39,000. It's not insignificant.
Well, the 1% isn't 39,000.
No,
It's
but
for-
what's in the budget is $39,000. And it's not 3%, it's, although you can't look at this and see that, you gotta add up some columns.
Yeah.
So there is some $39,000 we're talking about.
Yeah.
But the police, I guess it's 55,000. We have for a new vehicle.
That's correct. Do you have anything you can offer on that, or?
Yeah. Because of the way that we do our vehicles, we don't, with the exception of Tony Denham now, we're the only two that take on cars. The rest of them rotates, and multiple people can drive them throughout the day. You've got a lot of just the stopping road traffic, and mileage gets up around 100,000. Most police departments get rid of those cars at 100,000 miles.
You know, I did an internet search on that, and it said information. It said that metropolitan police cars are pretty much done at 100,000, and the reason is they're run two or more shifts a day. They're constantly idling. The air conditioning's on, or the heat's on, or they keep the windows up for security. They're in city traffic. They're driven by people who don't particularly have a sense of ownership, and they just get worked hard. And so at 100,000, they're done. But it's a small town police typically extend that quite a bit.
Well, they can, but what we've run into now in the last several years, the maintenance and stuff of those vehicles is much more difficult to get things maintained. I don't know if any of you have wrecked a car recently, but if you wreck a car, it's going to take you probably 4 months to get it repaired.
Right.
That's what the going rate is, because we've had a couple of officers that have wrecked their personal cars. And it takes about 4 months to get one in, to get parts. Nobody maintains parts. And same thing is done with dealerships when it comes to regular parts. Even sometimes like a water pump. In the way that these cars and stuff are done now, we had one that on a Durango, the water pump went out on a Durango. The way that these things are configured now, it took over 2.5 to 3 weeks to get this car back. They had to take the entire front end of the vehicle off. On a police car, they have to take the push bumpers off, the lighting system off, and everything to get to that, just because of the way that they're configured. So that vehicle's out of the fleet for that time. We had 2 that were out, so now you're down to 2 cars. And if you've got a couple of ongoing shifts or whatever, you've already got 4 cars in. That's why we have to have a number of cars. And the one car that we had a car with 105,000 miles. Normally, that's about the time that we take them out of service. Because after that, if you get into transmission work, that's $5 grand now for transmission. To get it, because these cars are all wheel drive. So then the maintenance cost and everything goes up on, we don't put a great deal of money in maintenance costs. But it is what it is. If you want to make them run a lot longer, you're gonna have to put a lot more money into maintenance costs. And then you run the risk of having a couple of them, if you got 2 or 3 of them that are, in for, service, then that can be a problem, that you don't have enough cars to really cover the street. For example, like we had the bomb threat the other day at Kroger's. We had 2 people already over there, another guy comes in, so we've got 2, perhaps 4 cars actually out on the street. Now, if we've got these other ones in, now you're out, you could run in potentially into a shortage of cars. I know that it sounds like an unusual circumstance, but there are times, in particular, that like when we've got other things going on, we could have 5 cars on the street because we do have an overlap of shifts in the evening.
The dealers or insurance companies offer extended warranties on police cars? Or yeah, extended warranties. I mean, you buy what you primarily, what type of vehicle?
I've never seen one of those. Like anything to do with it.
So Chief,
Because you drive them different, and quite honestly, when you go to add other equipment in it, you change the configurations in the lines. In fact, there are certain dealerships right now, if you went to buy a Ford Explorer and it's not a police package Ford Explorer, it voids it when you go touch it, when you go put in lights and stuff. It voids it when you get the lights. You have to buy one that has the 3 plugs put in. That's why we tend to buy things under the government contracts for that specific vehicle. You know, it used to, every 12 years ago, it was great because everybody bought the Crown Victoria. It was made at the end of the model year and they would shut down the line and all they would produce were police cars. And the only variance on them was a color. Everything else, it was all done the same. They were very easy to get serviced. The price was constant.
White or black, right?
Yeah, or you could get some other, like the state of Missouri, state police, they bought like 4 different colors. I don't know why, but they did.
so Chief, when we buy a new vehicle, what happens to the old one?
In the years ago, they used to just like sell it like in auction, gov deals or whatever. But recently, the location down in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, it's at L&W Equipment. That's who puts all the packaging and stuff on the car, all the emergency equipment. And actually that, it used to be a little small shop. It has gotten big. Right now, they have the contract to do all Louisville Metro police cars. They are doing Kentucky State police cars right now. So it's a huge company now. They actually put together our police cars. But the answer to your question is when we take a new vehicle down there, they will also tell us what the price is because they can take in one of our old cars. They'll say, we'll give you X $1,000 for your car.
So,
And they give us more than what we were getting when we used to sell it like on gov deals. And it's pretty clean because they can take it right to their clerk's office. We can sign over the title, but they'll tell us what the legitimate price for the thing.
so can you give the mayor what money we get back from that so that we know for budgetary purposes?
I did that money, when that check comes in, it goes right back into
I
the.
understand that, but that doesn't help us for figuring out the budget.
Well, is the $55,000 net or gross?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out.
No, that's for the car straight up. That's not trading in
Okay,
this other car.
so can we at least get some idea on what the trade-in in the past have so we can,
Well, for what mine, we just traded in, when I got mine, and we kept mine longer because it's done differently out of the new driver. We did it at 130 pounds. We sent 930. We just did it a couple of months ago. And we got 7,500 from that.
What's the,
So basically, the equipment that went in my car was essentially became free. They gave us.
Yeah, I don't know the accounting of it, but see, what we see is $55,000 for a new police vehicle, period, you know. And don't see the 7,000 or whatever it comes back. So it's not 55,000, it's 48.
Well, actually, in a corrected budget by the end of the year, you will, because it comes back. And I turn back money in under that capital item, it comes back in under the equipment budget, not the vehicle, but under the equipment. And that goes back into John Carter. And I met with John, some weeks ago, and we had a discussion about how much of that equipment money goes back into surplus this year. Every year I come in a lot of money back into surplus. And Mayor Evans can tell you that year after year after year, I turn back thousands of dollars every year in monies that we didn't use.
yeah, you never use your contingency.
Yeah, well, I've used a little.
What's life, Jeff? What's life of the car? 105,000 miles equates to a year and a half, 6 months, what?
Oh, no. Usually, we're getting about 4 years off.
4 years? Yeah, that's pretty
I mean,
good.
we got a 2015 that has, and now that one was a little bit of a strange thing, but it was 2015, it has 96,500 miles, but only one person's kind of driving that because it's a sedan. It's the only car in our fleet that is not all-wheel drive. It would take too long to explain how we ended up with it. It was because another car was wrecked. And we got that in exchange.
No, I'm surprised, 4 years. I would have thought a lot less than that.
No, it's not. And then there's, like the other car that now has 105,000 miles. I believe it's a 2015 or 2016. So, I mean, it's getting some year, they get several years. But that's technically that one and the other, the two oldest.
Well, Chief, I guess we've got a problem here, and don't need an answer now, but wonder if you would consider pushing it off this year, and if there's a problem that comes up, we can always amend the budget and get your car.
Then we need 2 next year at least.
We have to think about that.
Miles has to be out of that. You would need 2 next year. I don't believe we should kick the can down the road. Yeah. Just because of the way how difficult they are to get serviced.
I wasn't suggesting taking it down the road. I just wondered if we can get more mileage. Like,
I've got some data on salaries. I can't remember if I've sent the information on salary increases for other cities, our peer cities for this year, proposed increases. So St. Matthews is proposed 5% increase in salaries. Jeffersontown 6%, Douglas Hills 4%, Middletown 2%, plus the police receive retention pay of approximately $2,100 per officer. So the average of those is 4.25%.
Which year
and
is
that's
that?
for the upcoming year.
That's the upcoming year.
Did you get what kind of percentages for this past
Okay,
year?
so with this past year, 2022, 2023 that we're in, we raised our salary 7%.
Right.
And St. Matthews raised 4% for the current year, plus a $5,000 ARPA premium paid to all employees. Police received an additional 1% retention bonus, and they also added a federal holiday, Juneteenth. Jeffersontown increased salaries 10%, plus a $5,000 ARPA premium paid to all employees, and added Juneteenth federal holiday. Douglas Hills in the current year was 5%, plus 5,000 ARPA premium paid to all employees, and added Juneteenth federal holiday. Middletown, 2%, plus $5,000 ARPA premium paid to all employees. Police received retention pay of approximately $2,100 per officer, and added the Juneteenth federal holiday. So that's the current year and the way the cities, those 4 cities approached. And ours was, we had no bonuses, and we have not added a holiday, and we have increased salary 7%.
And with the 3.9, we would be increasing it. You see, that became effective, what, in February, when we voted on it here. And then there was the back pay. And so if we do this in June, it would be a 10% increase
Well, it would be
for
for the 2 years. Yeah.
it sounds comparable, but it sounds comparable to or more so. But
Jeffersontown was
the ARPA, the taking $5,000 bonuses out of the ARPA fund. I mean, it wasn't something that was brought up or discussed, and we spent our ARPA funds on, it's 200,000 on police equipment and 900,000 over here on the parks.
So Jeffersontown in the 2 years combined was 16%, plus in the first year, 5,000 ARPA premium paid to all employees. St. Matthews was a total of 9% for the 2 years, plus 5,000 ARPA premium paid to all employees. And then the police received the additional 1% retention bonus. Douglas Hills for the 2 years was 9%, plus there was 5,000 ARPA premium paid to all employees. Middletown combined is 4%, plus $5,000 premium paid to all employees in the current year. And then the police received retention pay of approximately $2,100 per officer.
May I have a copy of that, please?
Sure. Yeah. Just remind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll circulate it to everybody. I'll just send it to everybody.
All purchasing equipment, which you're not seeing on there. They all have that.
Yeah, we bought the radios and the
Same that you just purchased.
Yeah.
They didn't purchase.
right. Okay, anything else to discuss on the budget? Okay, if not, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is the discussion on the process that we will employ to fill, the city council will employ to fill the vacancy that's been created on the council by the resignation of Don Grader. So the deadline for us to take that action, for the council to take that action, is July 12th. If we don't do it by July 12th, the governor appoints someone. So I'll open the floor to discussion on how we might go about filling that vacancy.
So can one of the current past members describe the process that was used
When Sarah,
when Sarah left? Yes.
I think we advertised vacancy.
And how long did we give people? They were to write a letter of interest explaining what they had done in Prospect, and then a CV, is that right? Or
I think so.
Historically, we've gone back to people who have run for office. And the theory there being that, okay, they're committed to the city, and that, that's where we should start.
But we didn't do that last time.
Well, but Sandy Tucci was, we didn't,
When Sarah left, we selected somebody who had not served
Yeah.
and who had not run.
prior to that. I mean, Sandra Tucci, and then prior to that was all the next in line.
Yeah.
But I assume that if we do like we did for Sarah Liddell, that will give other people who have run, if they choose to put their hat in the ring again, that opportunity. It's
Sure.
I don't see.
I mean, if that's the process, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why we limit it. I think we ought to just give it out to the public and like we did last time.
I agree.
We can draft a city mail message. I'll try my hand at that and I'll circulate it. And then we'll get that out. We'll give them a deadline,
Yeah, what's the deadline, people think? If we've got to do this by July
12th.
the 12th, we'll have to have a meeting or something where we have some discussion about this.
Right.
Before then.
So next regular meeting, in a week from
A
today.
week from today.
Is that a little bit early? That seems a little bit early.
I think we'd want to if we get something out tomorrow, we'd want to give people
2 weeks,
10 days
10
or
days, 2 weeks, something. I think that's
makes note. Tell people to get their information in by June 29th, which would be,
Yeah, they would give us a week and a half. Business days, June 29th to Friday. And July 12th is the Wednesday after
right.
July 4th.
Actually, Doug.
Yeah.
The last time when Dale Dotler was selected, we had no eligibility from the election. Because there were, Howard Chu was the next in line, but he had moved out of the city, so that was off the table.
Okay. Okay. I guess there probably were people who had run previously
Yeah, and previously
that
that
served for.
Sandy Tucci had,
Right.
and the thing that's good for the city is that the people, number one, showed an interest. Number two, if they've run before, they've gone through the process. Hopefully, they've gone through the seminars and all that stuff that make them a valuable
Right.
council person.
Well, there are a lot of great folks in Prospect, so I'll get something to you as promptly as I can. We'll try to get it out to everybody tomorrow.
And will they be directed to provide that information to John
Carter.
And then John will dispense it to the rest of us?
Yes,
Okay.
then we would want to
Schedule some kind.
meet, and I don't know if the council will want to, I mean, let's get to that point and then we can make a decision on how we proceed from there.
Yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
That's the conclusion of the agenda. If there's no further business, is there
To adjourn.
a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. We are adjourned. Thanks, Sean. Sure. Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good, Chris, thanks. Okay, I'll get to work on. I'll send this to everybody.
You asked for two things. Frank. What was the other?
Oh, the bids.
Is.
The bid.
Let me run get those real quick before everybody gets play.
Have you got enough for everybody?
I think so. Good. Rob won, but Rob made copies.